Greetings to you, brother Cortex.
What's up? How's it going? Did you like the
Going
music
all
choice?
What's up?
I said, did you like the music choice I had? I had the Resident Evil 3 save theme.
Yeah, that was nicely atmospheric. I gotta say, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's unfortunate though. Kane Pixels had to delay their video, but at least they showed something else, you know? As far as the
Right,
oldest
we've
view
got some
goes.
material.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got some material to work with here. Am I coming through okay?
Great.
It appears I'm a little buggy. Maybe that's just on
Maybe
my
the
end.
camera, but the audio is coming in good.
All right, let me see if I can get the camera to cooperate here. I'm using the front-facing camera for the computer, so sadly, there's not much I can do about it. I am a low-tech Luddite. Oi.
Yes, well, I don't know what we have in store. I don't know what we have in store for us as far as the oldest view goes. But the Demolition sounds really interesting.
Yeah. Just a couple of quick housekeeping clarifications for my part. For our semi-regular viewers / listeners, I am in a weird place right now. And I was talking to Brother Cortex here about it. I've become accustomed to a certain degree of chaos in my home, particularly over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
But now things have taken a decidedly beneficial, yet for me, weird feeling change. Mm-hmm. You see, folks, my oldest child she started middle school this year. So she's up and out the door by 6:45 in the morning to catch her bus. My older boy, Dennis, he started kindergarten last week. So he's off at school right now. I get him on the bus at about 10 to 9. As soon as he's on the bus, I then take my younger son to Miss Jessica's daycare. He has taken over his older brother's spot. So now the only ones at home are me, the little girl, and the dogs. Well, the little girl was on the verge of passing out for her morning nap when we got home. So I just took her upstairs, got her a warmed up bottle, laid her down. She was nipped off about 10 minutes later. So the house is quiet, and it's weird for me. I've gotten so acclimated to the absolute chaos, the Barney chaos of my home. I love my kids. I didn't realize how accustomed, how acclimated I had become to the madness of having all 4 of my kids running around, plus the dogs. Well, ever since we got Sky spayed as well, she's been a lot calmer. And now that Gunner has gotten used to living here, he's got like 3 or 4 roost spots around the house. He just chills out in until I let them outside to run around and be crazy into the backyard, which is fully fenced off now. So they can't get out, they can't escape, they can't go bolting around the neighborhood. There's actually some order and control in my home. It's weird for me.
Yeah, it's like it's quiet. It's too quiet. Yeah, you might have a predator like lurking around in the shadows. Let's pull out the old minigun.
Right. If it bleeds, it can die.
Yep. If it bleeds, we can kill it.
That's good old fashioned. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, or you have Jesse Ventura running around with the minigun. He's like, I ain't got time to bleed.
I have questions. Like, can we mow this thing down?
Yep. He said some other lines, but I don't dare to repeat them on here.
No, not nowadays.
No.
On YouTube? No, not on
Right.
YouTube.
Um,
Although I will, I've been trying to, as much as possible, to use an alternative to YouTube for my own personal streaming, especially on my breaks at work. The Mean Green site. I'm not going to name it because we are under the 10-minute mark here on YouTube, so I don't want to get you or your channel in trouble. But when you mention the name of that other streaming platform, YouTube tends to suppress your video or not recommend it in its algorithm. So for now, I'm going to couch my language. Thanks, YouTube, bunch of fuckers. But I'm finding that that's not much of a better alternative because of the way that their algorithm tends to promote, it would seem at least, only socio-political content, whether it be streaming or standalone video upload. So I've made primarily a return to BitChute. And guess what? I'm right back to doing a couple hundred views per video on BitChute, which for a small timer like me is great.
Just for reference here, I got to do this. Hold on. Payback time. I love that scene, man.
You know why that still works today? Because it's mindless fun. And a lot of studios in the current day and age could learn a lesson or two from the films that graced us back in the 80s and 90s. Bring back fun films. Because guess what?
The same could be said for gaming too.
No shit. A lot of us, we indulge in movies and video games because we want to unplug for a little while and get away from the drudgery of our day-to-day existences. If you make something right, if you make something for people just to help them relax and be like, that was cool. Guess what? They're gonna fork over money to watch it or play it.
Like the best example is when I was playing Vladik Brutal. And I was telling Scuba this. I was like, you know what this game does over many games that have come out or have come out recently? It's a simple concept. It's a game. It knows how to be a game. That's it. You go in, you kill things, you move on to the next level. You don't overcomplicate it. You have fun.
Exactly.
Gore, guns, and enemies. That's all you need.
Yo, I mean, I'm right now. I do a lot of retro and emulation, as you know. I've been talking to you a lot about that, brother.
Oh, for sure.
The last few days, when I've had a little bit of time to play some video games, you know, I've been playing Diddy Kong Racing, an N64 emulator. Thank you very much.
Did you get that working?
Yeah, I got it clean. Your copy was clean, so I was able to load up on my emulec. Holy God, it's just cartoony fun. I love the shit out of that game.
If you ever need any more games, let me know.
I will. I'm going to get started on playing Shadow Man as my next sit down. I
played Shadow Man 2. I never got to play Shadow Man 1.
Second Coming was a shortfall for me, especially in terms of voice acting and character presentation. They made Jaunty, I think, in Second Coming. I think they tried too hard to make him look terrifying, and it came off as sloppy. In the first Shadow Man game, he looks bizarre and like cracked out, just weird, and it's amazingly effective.
Right.
Particularly given they were working with some god-awful polygonal art with that game. But it worked.
Yeah.
It made him look janky and fucked up.
Well, I mean, what's crazy is like I was talking about Shadow Man 1, and then you look at a game like Shadow Man 2, and like the graphical differences. I could say the same for like Quake 2. You had Quake 2 on the PC, and then they ported it over to the PlayStation, which they thought was almost impossible, but they did it anyway. And it looked 10 times better than the PC. But slightly, off. Like, you could tell, it was a little more pixelated, but the lighting and everything was perfect. The blood effects were perfect. It's like, how did you guys not figure this out with the PC version? Like, how did you not update it or do something with it? Especially now.
You know what I honestly...
Well, I can't say now, but before, yeah.
What I think a lot of it is some games genuinely will play better with a less pristine visual presentation. Mm-hmm. There's something about the style of a game and its story or its gameplay that actually lends itself to a more primitive visual presentation and can actually make it more involving if it is less clean visually.
No, I do have to say, when they redid Quake 2, it is 10 times better than what it was before. Because they had just straight up Quake 2 for PC. Then they pulled out the RTX like mod of the game. Like it was like to showcase what the RTX graphics card could do, and the lighting and the textures and all that, which is fine. But you didn't bother to update like the guns muzzle flashes or anything of that nature. And it's like, you got these guns that are shooting projectiles, but no fire coming out of the barrel except a little bit of smoke. And it's like, okay, but how come that's a current day update of the game. You have a PSX port that literally has your enemy shooting at you with muzzle flashes on their guns. Like,
yeah,
you see the problem here? Like,
yeah, you'd think they could handle that on PC.
Oh, for sure. But it was like, why has this not been updated? And then they finally came out with Quake 2 again and redid everything. And now the guns have muzzle flashes, the lighting's great. And it's just like a blast from the past, but better.
That's pretty awesome, dude.
Oh, tons of fun.
We've been nerding out for a good 15 minutes. We are now, I'd say, well into our introduction or reintroduction to folks. Let us, Brother Cortex, proceed onward with our deep dive for the day. If you'd like to do the introduction.
The introduction today will be the remains of Valley View Mall post-demolition. That is what we'll be viewing today. So, without further ado, let's check it out. And we'll give you our thoughts on the whole spiel or deal. Here we go. Can you hear it?
I love that they call it the burial site.
Mm-hmm. Is the audio okay?
I can't hear much of anything.
All right. Yeah, I'll turn it up. Whoa. Wait a minute. Did you see the color?
No, I didn't.
Hold on. Look at the colors.
Is that all like grayscale in the middle, just surrounded by green?
Yeah. But everything else is colored around it.
Everything else is saturated, but this, like the actual mall structure itself,
that can't grayed out.
Right, it can't just be that it's all granite or concrete and cement.
No.
It's all
there is like sand and stuff in there, but like even that's colored.
But it's dead. It looks dead. I'm reminded of the scene in the original Transformers, the animated film, when Optimus Prime dies and he just drains of all color.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What was it, like tile or something?
Yeah, it looks like a grout tile.
Yeah. Oh. Hmm. Hey, can I borrow that?
I was just about to ask about. I didn't see any kind of cable or electrical access ports on the ground yet, which had struck me as a little weird. But right there, he just highlighted that.
Whoa. Okay. Oh
I'd also
boy.
like to know how some sections of the flooring appear to have been torn up and destroyed and dismantled in the
Right.
Destructor, in the Demolition, yet other patches remain present in the aftermath.
Right. I'm trying to figure out where this was because I don't remember seeing this.
I think it was like in the central area, like near the central area before he went to those store areas that he hid from the statue in. I think. I could be wrong.
Right, but I don't remember the pillared lights, like the
No,
four
yeah,
like pillared lights like that.
the stanchions. I don't recall
Yeah.
those either. I do remember the skylight.
Yeah, the skylight I remember. I don't remember those though. Hmm.
Yeah, wait. I call horse shit on that.
What?
That flicker view of the doors that were those looking outside or trying to?
Trying to see what you're talking about. What out here?
No, not there. The next flash.
That one. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Something about that did not strike me as accurate. Okay, never mind. Never mind. I'm wrong.
I was gonna say that's not outward. It
No,
definitely
that's
extends.
right. That's another section of the mall. My mistake. Sorry.
It's locked up too. It's got a padlock on the left
Right.
door.
It's like chained, isn't it?
There's a padlock on it.
Okay.
It's got like a latch. They put like a lock on.
Yeah, control clasp.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember those other shots either.
No, especially not with people.
God, could you imagine being stuck in that mall and then you do see people and they just stopped and looked at you? Like it was like they're doing their normal thing and then they just stopped.
Some Invasion of the Body Snatchers shit.
Yeah. But I'm like, right, but like on like a supernatural level.
Yeah. Some Keeper Sutherland shit right there.
Yeah. Or like some purgatory type shit. Jeez. Somebody needs to get out there and do some weeding.
It does make you wonder, like, how long has it been destroyed and demolished for this shit to spring up that fast?
Right. How is this not tore up?
And
Kinda
again,
is.
the still frame with another person there.
Talking about what has happened in the past, what hasn't happened in the past. We're going to just move forward from today and positive messaging.
Water.
And we're just excited about the next 10 years. And with that, I'll open up to any questions. If you have any, we're happy to answer them. I think Jamie will give you if you have any questions for Charles. everyone hear the question? Would you like me to repeat it? Okay. So, we don't have a microphone to hand around. So, the question is, how long will this first project take? And then, I'm sorry, the second part of that. And do you plan on starting any other projects? So, this first project is
You can hear audio distortion beyond or below that airplane passing overhead.
Something. So from what I heard is they were talking about not talking about the past and moving forward, and it sounds like a gathering type deal, and they were discussing a project that they were gonna start up.
Right, like someone trying to reclaim the plot in order to develop something else on it, but you can't really see anyone, any kind of gathered crowd. It also, and I'm not the most adept at audio distortions or audio engineering, but the echo quality of whoever's speaking unseen, it's the sound quality makes me think that they're delivering this conversation or this speech inside a building where the audio would reverberate or echo around the tile or marble flooring and or ceiling structure.
It's like he's inside the mall, but not inside a mall.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he hearing an echo?
Right. There's a trash can. That looks lovely. Dr. Pepper in there.
Dr. Pepper tastes much better. Not out of here.
Whatever stew is floating in. The heck is that? Like some type of manhole.
What it looks like. Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna find an entrance back to the mall in some way.
Right, I'm half expecting that, or he'll fall through
Or that.
a clipping glitch.
He forgot to type no clip off on his console. Half-Life 2 Gary's Mod reference, but majority of game reference. Uh-oh. Dude, if you're walking around a vacant area and you start hearing mall music, you better run.
Yeah, no shit. Something is definitely not right here, and he needs to book it.
What the hell is that? A lot of skid marks on the tiles.
Makes you think of the way the creature rolled.
Mm-hmm.
And that audio is heavily reminiscent of the mall music from the initial patch videos.
Also, I gotta add, we haven't done an oldest view video since April.
Holy crap, seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, brother.
April 24th. I looked at the date.
Damn. This is the problem with being irregular.
It's been a minute. Oh no. Oh, you're good,
No
Scuba.
worries. Yeah, no worries, Scuba.
For a second, I was thinking I was going to descend downward.
Right? Like, don't do it. Every horror film aficionado would just be like screaming, "Don't do it!"
Literally. This is really ominous.
It is. It does not bode well. And how does a wild sunflower, a lone
Mm-hmm.
wild sunflower, spring up like that?
I'd just say the Wayward Wanderer.
Yes, it did. I was going to jot that down. Hold on a second. It said YT.
Meaning
Wayward.
YouTube, I'm sure.
Yep. And I love how whenever we dip into these Kane Pixels videos, there's always some kind of little reference or tag somewhere that you can end up kind of hop diving toward. So I have made a note for later.
Yeah, we're definitely going to check out Wayward Wanderer after this.
Yes. Definitely.
Oh, 0x Lulu. I am going to go back and skim through the video and see if there were any others.
Yeah, because it could very well be that we've missed one or two because we weren't looking for them. That one was blatant.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a, hey, in case you didn't see this,
Right.
something else for you to look into. And that's the thing about keeping notes.
God, that's so eerie. Euros and pizzas and salads.
And I was to say, wait, the audio, the music from that Zero Lulu clip, it's the same music that he's hearing right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the audio tonality is different because he's out in the open as opposed to the enclosure of the mall.
Looks so post-apocalyptic. It's post-demolition, but
I'm reminded of New Vegas.
a little bit. Actually, no, it doesn't remind me of New Vegas. You know what it reminds me of? Stalker.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have.
Shadow Chernobyl.
Yep, you showed me some gameplay footage.
Yeah,
does
there's a
seem-
lot
yeah,
of like ruined like buildings and stuff that look just like this.
It seems a little bit more accurate, yeah.
Still 0 Exclusive. There's a fire extinguisher, 2 of them. That's a lot of sunflowers. I wonder what that would have led to.
Hell's Half Acre?
Maybe. The grates, it kind of almost seems like there's like some sort of drain.
Right, like some kind of utility inlet.
Yeah.
Or you know how a lot of large structures like that, they'll have a fire department control station embedded within the structure.
Yep. That looks radioactive.
Check your pit, boy.
Yep, pull out the Geiger counter. Make sure you get a dose of Radox.
Got crane thistle sprouting up too all over the place, but that makes sense. Crane thistle sprouts pretty quick.
Yeah. I was half expecting to see that statue or the rolling giant on like one of those roofs.
Standing in the window of the Carlton there.
Yeah. Just staring at him.
Get out of my old home.
Well, it'd be good because it would like drive the curiosity of the person recording. Huh. I wonder. Well, this is just my theory about this. I know we got like a couple seconds. I wonder if Kane Pixels is just showing this because it was finally demolished.
Not sure.
Like, I guess, like in a way of saying, like, you know, probably no more videos of the oldest view.
Oh, sort of like, hey, there's nothing more coming, and
Yeah.
Here's why. It's possible we could be poking and theorizing over nothing, but
Still, I'll do it anyway.
exactly. It's like, look, man, you set us up for this. We're
Mhm.
just indulging you and indulging ourselves as a couple
Yeah.
of geeks who like this shit.
That's all they wrote. It says, oh, it's just okay. They got like a playthrough, or not playthrough, a playlist of all the videos.
Okay, gotcha.
So
So we have a
yeah,
couple
people
of
are asking like, is this a rendered or the actual location, stuff like that.
yeah. There's a couple of hypotheses that could be taken away. You just mentioned the one that it could very well be that Pixels is just showing us, hey, remember those videos that series that I was starting and that we had begun? Well, here's unfortunately the culmination is the location is no longer physically there for us to continue the story or the mythology of it. That's a possibility. But
Yeah.
I'm really quick going to do a quick bit of reference here that I feel like I need to look up.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are just pretty much saying like this is pretty much what's left of what was.
Yeah. Echoes.
Kane Pixels, enjoy my new vid. Plants in his video. Green. Pretty funny.
Screaming.
Yeah, it's rolling giant forced out on the sidewalk begging for change.
We'll murder you for food.
Drug addicts be like, dude, are you Jesus?
All right, so if we go with the hypothesis interpretation of this was just a wrap up, send off kind of, hey guys and gals, sorry, but we had what we had, and now our time there with this is done. Then, it's a remarkably extended farewell and send off. And I would think that's really great of him to do that. There's a sort of a sense of bittersweetness to it, particularly given the soundtrack at the end, kind of an end of an era musical notation. If we are to go off of, however, the concept or the idea that perhaps this was to be wrapped into the mythology of the oldest view, then we could very well be looking at something that is referenced as early as Babylonian times with the concept of legion echoes, which are energetic forces predicated upon the intense experience of deeply felt human emotions, as well as the malignant influence of a creature, entity, or psyche that has remained behind in a place to cause further hauntings in whatever or whoever may inhabit that location again in the future. The arising of sounds known as echoes previously established by the prior presence will cause a delineation or a shift and change in the affect of any living thing that comes into the proximity of the place that was previously haunted.
I'm just looking at some of the videos that the channels that were referenced in the video,
Gotcha.
and from what I'm looking at, it's pretty much just looking at the dead version of the mall. Like, there's nothing there.
Nothing there anymore.
Yeah,
I had to
they're
do
not.
my
Yeah.
usual reference. Sorry.
No. I'm just, I was wanting to make sure like we weren't actually missing anything.
Yeah,
So I
no,
was
I
just skimming through them, but it's just walkthroughs of the malls.
okay. Well, I mean, in either event, I mean, those would be the two hypotheses that I would primarily lean towards one or the other. With the one, if it's just a send off and a farewell, that's again excellent on Kane Pixel's behalf, and we appreciate all the effort and work that he put into bringing this entertaining and intriguing mystery to us as viewers and listeners. However, if it is something that's kind of a coda to say, yes, this place is gone now, but the place itself, the very grounds upon which this place resided, if anything else goes in here, there's still a hint of what came before that will invariably end up unsettling and undoing whatever is made from it. I almost want to lean that way because very much like Fox Mulder.
Whatever's developed. Yeah.
Right. Because like Fox Mulder, I want to believe.
Yeah. It could very well be like a new building set up there, like an office building. And then like somehow yeah, the Rolling Giants piece back together with like office supplies.
Some corporate structure goes in place and they're like, hey, didn't there used to be a mascot for the mall? Hey, we found it on eBay. Let's bring it back. Bad decision, dude. But it's kind of like
I will say this though, even though this guy's like here alone, just kind of looking through, and there's lights and everything still working. This is still pretty ballsy right here. Dude, I would shit my pants if that thing just turned.
Now, here's a fun little fact for you. This weird puppet statue, this man with the beard, is actually used in a play at my high school. But now it is standing here right outside of the former Dillard's entrance.
Yeah, there's not really anything going on.
Dude, that's better than the fucking Burnsville Center down the road from where I live. And the Burnsville Center has been featured on a couple of YouTube channels that investigate dead or dying malls. And I can tell you, accurate.
They're scary places, man, especially like that empty. It's like, I don't know, it's like you're almost bound to like run into anything.
Right. They prey upon a concept in speculative fiction that's referred to as liminal spaces.
Mm-hmm.
Locations and structures which at their height are densely populated, that have a high foot traffic footprint, where people gathered and or traded, engaged in commerce and economic activity, or just gathering for social events intensely over a short period of time. And then when they're suddenly abandoned, but they have all of this superstructure already set in place, you can almost feel the echoes of the people who once trotted about and made it their either weekend destination or someplace they would stop into on their way home from work, or on their way to work, or on their breaks. There's a human energy left behind that speaks of this place once had a purpose, and now
Mhm.
it has no purpose. In the entire spectrum of the human experience, those people who do not have a central purpose tend to drift through life like revenants. They're dead, but they don't yet even know it. A structure or a building can haunt people that step within it with the same sentimentality of this place is a revenant. It is a dead thing that doesn't realize it's dead yet.
Yeah. That's like a sense of purgatory, really. You don't really have a
Oh,
purpose
Dante,
or anything.
Dante, Purgatorio.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for Cane Pixels as far as the oldest view, but we're still waiting on the new episode or whatever we want to call it now, the new addition to the Backrooms, which should
The
come
next
out.
installment.
Yeah, it should come out. Sometime soon, from what I read in the community post.
I really am hoping it's before next Wednesday so we can just kind of be like, ah, it's here. We can crack out on it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, like it looked like just from the thumbnail, it looked pretty good. But I hope we get some form of like horror element again, like we did in the first installment. I like the not so much the view of like the people that are going in the back rooms because they already know about the back rooms, but like the people that actually just fall into the back rooms to me is more interesting.
Yeah, the sort of inadvertent, holy shit, what happened?
Yeah,
Where am I? What's going on? That
yeah.
disorientation.
Mm-hmm. Because
And I
it's more
think,
refreshing. Because not only are they like kind of not curious, but not only are they ignorant to like what they had fallen into, but so are you, because you're asking the same questions like, what happened to you? And it
yep,
kind of
it
almost plays
goes,
like you're in their footsteps.
yeah, it goes hand in hand with the concept or
Mm-hmm.
the idea of having an avatar on
Mm-hmm.
screen for you. Because when the characters going into it already have a fixed idea or notion of what the mission objectives are, they have
Yep.
some brief, sketchy concept going in. There's already a sense of we're on guard, we are already apprehensive, but we're equipped and we're trained. And for
We
the
kind
average
of
viewer,
somewhat know what we're going into.
right, for the average viewer, that takes us out of it a little bit because we don't have that experience. It's part
Right.
of what in fiction goes towards relatability.
Right.
When someone just,
Especially when you're asking questions like, well, I would do this or I would do that.
right, it takes you out of it if the person on screen already has some measured concept of what they're getting into. I think of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think of Silent Hill Homecoming when I think of this. Silent Hill Homecoming was an entry in that series where the primary protagonist you play as is a Afghanistan war veteran who's returned home and finds himself dislocated in the town of Silent Hill. The combat in Homecoming was both praised and criticized as being a both refreshing, different take to the previous installments of the series because your player character, actually had familiarity and skill in wielding weaponry against hostile forces. But it
Mm-hmm.
also was denoted as a takeaway and a downgrade because the main character you play as had familiarity with and skill with weapons against hostile forces. It's the dual-edged sword of, sure, you're capable, but Silent Hill works best when the player character is incapable
Yeah.
because then they're
But
more.
I mean, to be fair, like any of the entities within like Silent Hill, I mean, you're not really gonna know how to handle them. Even if you do have like combat, training, like it's like which orifice do I stab it in?
Yeah, that are. Oh, that thing is a good 2.5 feet taller than me and has a butcher's knife the size of my car.
Right. Or this thing shooting like corrosive black acid at me.
Yeah, like I'm sorry, I don't care how many CQC scenarios you've gone through. You're
Yeah.
not going to know what to do.
Especially if that thing starts spewing at you, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be you.
And for those of you uninitiated by CQC, close quarters combat training.
Yeah. CQC or CQB.
Smoking man, goddamn it.
Which CQB is close quarters battle.
Ah, gotcha.
That's like the new term. But yeah, CQC, close quarters combat, close quarters battle, same shit basically.
Right. And having the protagonist of these snippets, these installments, I'm much in the same mindset of you as you, brother, in that I much prefer I stepped sideways out of my known reality. What the shit? The disorientation is something that we can identify with and empathize with, because all things given sideways, I would be in much the same headspace of what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, it's, to me, you're more vulnerable, you don't know what's going on, and you're learning as you go. But even then, that's hardly learning.
Right. And that's coming from a fella who, if I'm not on my proper medication dosage, some days I can wake up and find a 3-headed cat sitting with frog legs on my kitchen table, trying to warm up a toaster by cranking a wheel that's it's slammed into the side, and goes, "How you doing, mate? I didn't have any Papa the Garlic this morning." Like, if I can be disoriented, and that's some of my morning.
That looks up at you is like,
the average
it's
person,
like asking you if beans and toast.
You got some beans and toast for it? No, fuck off. Those are my beans.
Yeah. I guess Silent Hill 2 remake is a thing. Apparently, the story trailer came out 3 weeks ago, but I don't know as far as the release date. I've been kind of seeing it on Steam lately.
Do you think there's any hope for it?
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to tell games anymore, dude.
I was such a huge fan of the original. It was, I mean, the first Silent Hill, hands down, great game for PlayStation 1. No doubt about it. It's the whole reason I was even interested in Silent Hill 2 when it first came out. And I was fortunate in that I had a PS2 for about a year before the second Silent Hill game came out. And I was one of the first people to say to myself, I got to fucking get this amongst my group of friends. And being a horror wonk, I was one of the only people in my group of friends who even had heard of it or wanted it. And I got it, and just my friends and my brothers and my mom and dad didn't see me for like days. I was just latched up in my room going, ha ha, being
well, see, that's the thing about like Resident Evil and then like Silent Hill, because like you had the two groups, people who played Silent Hill, then you had the Resident Evil fans like myself. I chose Resident Evil, but I never got into Silent Hill. I was always interested in it, but just never came around to it. I knew what it was, but I don't know enough to know the stories. I think I played Silent Hill 1 for like maybe a couple of minutes when I was a kid, and I forgot about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the style of horror between the two different franchises is much different. It's kind of a glaring dichotomy. And that's why you end up.
I love the style of it,
Oh, yeah. The visual style is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
By style, I mean the narrative and the environmental style is very different between Resident Evil and Silent Hill.
Especially
Resident
the
Evil-
like even like the monster designs. Like, you know, I was very interested in that too. Like Pyramid Head, definitely a beautiful design, no matter what.
Fuck yeah.
Very iconic too.
Yes, and anyone who knows even the slightest scintilla of Silent Hill, you say Silent Hill, and one of the first images to rip across their head will be Pyramid Head.
That or the there were two other monsters that came to mind. The one that is called the Gray Children, those, and the it was like the weird like straight jacket, like skin straight jacket monster that shot out the black like corrosive like acid. Like those are the three iconic monsters that come to mind when I think about Silent Hill.
And for my liking, it's the Shadow Children, Pyramid Head, and the nurses.
Yeah, the nurses especially.
Two of those three are from Silent Hill 2. The Shadow Children, those were there from the very drop from Silent Hill 1. And
I thought they were called the Gray Children because like they were like burning from like ash or whatever.
The
like the very first game when you like I said, I only played a couple minutes of it, but it's like where you're walking through and you find that cultist member stuck up to the fence.
Yep, and then those things come out at you.
Yep.
Yes, initially they were called the Shadow Children.
Okay.
They were redubbed or reclassified the Gray Children after the release of Silent Hill 3, I believe.
Okay.
Because we didn't get really the background story of what happened to the town of Silent Hill in its original mortal incarnation until Silent Hill 3. That's when it was revealed to players that the town had been set on top of these constant rolling underground fires. And that was based on the real world instance of the town of Centralia in Pennsylvania, which is a town that's got a population of less than 50. It once was an actual bustling mining town until a fire broke out in the mines under the town, and the fire has been burning persistently ever since.
Yet somehow, I do remember hearing about that.
Yeah, somehow the whole town hasn't collapsed in on itself yet. But
creepy.
That is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, hey, here's a small section of hell that we're just gonna import right here to Earth.
Yeah, it hasn't collapsed yet, but
no, not yet. I'll be right back, brother. I gotta hit the loo.
Yep. Yeah, I love just kind of nerding out on stuff like that, like Resident Evil. Obviously I've been playing a lot of that lately. I still got to finish Resident Evil 4, the remake, and then I'm done with Resident Evil for a while. Unless, and I did mention this before, I'll either play Resident Evil Outbreak, which is more of a co-op based game. It's like a 3-4 player co-op game. And I would rather play that with other people than to play that one on my own because the AI are very dumb. So I'm just kind of waiting on to get done with the regular games. Like Resident Evil 4 Remake, I'll wind up finishing that pretty soon. Like I'm already pretty much towards the end of the game anyway. And then there's Resident Evil not Resident Evil Outbreak, but Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, which is not even considered canon. So I might play that at some point, but I'm not going to consider it a part of the marathon. But I am almost done with the marathon.
Oh, you
I
talking
just got to
about
finish Resident Evil. Yeah, I only got Resident Evil 4 Remake to play. I'm already almost done with it.
Did you
I
end
went
up
through a
playing
lot
Code
of those.
Veronica?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Code Veronica. I even played the other one, Resident Evil Survivor, which was like kind of like a spinoff, but it was in like a kind of like a first person format. It was like a light gun type game.
Okay, was that a rail shooter?
Not a real shooter, but it was considered a light gun game. You could
Okay.
still freely move in the game and pick up items.
Gotcha.
There was another one called Dead Aim that I also played through, which was okay, not the greatest. Kind of corny, I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, yeah. It was part of the marathon though. But whoever made Dead Aim though, dude, I'm gonna tell you, like that game that shouldn't have been a Resident Evil game.
Every series has that one. When a series goes on long enough, you're gonna have one or two titles that stand out as, hey, what the hell was this doing here?
Yeah, it was like one of those games that they made and they really desperately wanted to forget about. But because emulators are a thing now, kind of hard not to.
Yep. The internet is forever.
Yeah. There was also another spinoff. It was another light gun shooter. It was a game you could play in the arcades. It wasn't a rail shooter, but it was Resident Evil Survivor 2, but it wasn't like its own game or story. It just basically took place in Code Veronica, and you like took out like areas full of enemies. So you played Code Veronica, right?
I have not.
Okay. Well, if you play the game, there's a mode called Battle Game that you unlock. And essentially what the idea is, it's you go through the maps. They're like randomly generated maps. Each door is randomly generated. I can't say for Code Veronica itself for Battle Game, but the Survivor 2, they're all randomly generated when you play dungeon mode.
Okay.
But like I said, you just essentially go from point A to point B, and you clear out the areas full of enemies, and you pick up weapons as you go on. Actually, no, I take that back. Battle Game, you didn't. You actually had your own loadouts, but in dungeon mode, you picked up weapons. But yeah, it's same deal. Survivor 1, you got to move around, but you used a light gun to aim your gun. It was mostly like one of those games that you took out of an arcade and put on a disc.
So it's kind of like ported from
an
arcade cabinet.
Yep. Which, don't get me wrong, I mean, if you like killing like Resident Evil enemies from like the older titles, Resident Evil Survivor 2 is actually really good for that matter. Like, if you're trying to play like dungeon mode, it's kind of more like roguelike almost. So like you work your way through and you kind of like make your character stronger as you go through. You're killing enemies and it's randomly generated as you're going through.
Okay. So it's a little makes you think of like a
But if you die, you start over.
Yeah, it makes me think of like Air Guys, God Bless the Ring on the PlayStation, if you remember that at all.
It's actually fun. Like, it's got enemies from like Resident Evil 2 and 3, which I thought was really cool. Like, you had lickers. Yeah. The lickers, the spiders. I mean, it's a good time. If you like the old school stuff.
Hold on, I think. What about the crocodile?
I don't think it was enemies like that, but like it's like Resident Evil 2. I know what you're talking about, like the big alligator that you get to blow up.
Oh man, that thing fucked me up the first time I played Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, you had to put the gas tank in its mouth or like it would bite it and you blow it up. Yeah.
I could not help but thinking, oh my god, they took the meme legend from the New York City sewer system and put it in a video game. How awesome is that?
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty cool enemy, I ain't gonna lie. But they kind of did the same thing, only the alligators weren't as big, but they did the same thing in the DLC for Resident Evil 7 when you play as Jack Baker's brother. And oh nice. Urban legends. But
This fucker is nice.
They had the big alligators because like it's Louisiana. You're playing as Jack Baker's brother, and you would take spears, like handmade spears, and throw them at them and kill them. And they were like these infected like alligators that had like big old boils growing out of them and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh man, I think of you ever watched the show Archer?
I watched a little bit of it.
Because Lana, they survived the KT extinction event.
Alligator. Hold on, I gotta
So
bring
there's
it up
probably a really pissed off alligator out there with a freaking arrow in its head. Fucking love John C. Benjamin.
now. All right, let's see. Yeah, this scene right here, iconic scene right here. Oh, you're about to nest, the umbrella nest.
Ada!
That thing was so cool. Wasting ammo, buddy. Oh, he didn't do it. Man,
Robbed! We got robbed!
I know, right? I was hoping for him to blow it up.
Come on.
That would have been perfect if he had actually blown it up.
Hey, you know, he's going to need a bigger boat.
For sure.
Not the same monster, Josh. Aquatic horrors. Just work with me here.
Yeah, that was like another thing. I was just looking at Mr. X. He was very well done as far as like scare factor in the remake of Resident Evil 2. But what's with the fucking fedora, man? Mr. X wears a fedora in Resident Evil 2 remake. A biological weapon. I don't know. You know, big old Mr. X with the trench coat.
Okay. I'm going to go hyper level, big brain. This is obviously a joke, but bear with me. As nonsense fucking woke as Capcom can sometimes be, do you think there may have been a hint of, we're going to get one over on the chuds from Gamergate, because the whole stereotyped iconic look of Gamergaters were guys with the pork pie fucking hats on, or the fedoras, and decided to troll them by making a bald-headed monster that was literally a basement-dwelling monstrosity.
I mean, why, dude?
Yeah, it's no.
You can shoot it off of his head, and then he like somewhat looks normal. I'm like,
if you've ever seen the show Fringe, he reminds me of one of the like strangers that shows up and wears the fucking fedora and the old-fashioned suit, and they're really like futuristic aliens from another dimension or other reality, and that's kind of what they look like. They're all bald. They've got the fedora. They've got the three-piece suit. They look kind of geeky, and I don't know. Maybe that's what they were going for.
You know what kind of like somewhat let me down as far as Mr. X goes?
What's that?
Is like, you know how like most of the monsters in Resident Evil, they'll have like their different forms when they mutate and they get bigger. Well, Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, the original, he gets bigger. Like after his trench coat's burned off, it's his like mutation limiter.
Yeah.
So like his claws, like they grow bigger. He becomes more of a monster than a humanoid.
Right. It's almost like they had something programmed into the coat
Yeah.
to make that a restriction package.
Yeah. So what kind of bothered me in the remake was they only had like one of his arms mutated and his like jaw was like ripped off halfway. I mean, it looked good, but it was like I was kind of hoping for a better look than that. You know what I mean? Like a more like prime version of Mr. X as opposed to just a half-assed, you know.
So sort of like there was potential and they just squandered
Yeah.
it.
Like here's an example. Like this is the remake, Mr. X here. He's got like the one long arm that's mutated.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Kind of
got
cool.
tissue. Yeah, I mean it's still cool looking, but then you get like this version of Mr. X who is more of a monster than he is a humanoid. I mean, he still has the humanoid look to him, but
Right. That's much more iconic
right.
and
Like
much
he's
more.
got both arms that are claws.
Yeah, it's much more balanced.
Mm-hmm.
But that could just be me going off of an aesthetic.
But I think he looks better like that, honestly.
Yeah, this looks,
It looks scary to me.
It's more, oh my God, I'm really going to fucking die here.
Yeah. Like, okay, a better example, like Nemesis in Resident Evil 3. After Mikhail pulls the pin on his grenade and kills, well, you know, takes Nemesis with him in the train, you then see Nemesis get his, like, trench coat burn off. Now, he's different. He's still a tyrant, but he's got a parasite inside of him as opposed to just the virus.
Right. I was going to say, wasn't his evolution also like persistent?
Oh, very much so.
Because of the parasite.
Yep. Not only that, like with Mr. X, like when you finally see him in his final form without the trench coat, he's on fire. Like he's burning with his muscle all kind of like burnt up and crisped up. So it kind of creates like a shell on his like pecs and stuff.
Right. So it's like, okay, not only can this thing completely maul and rip you apart, but even if he just decides to give you a nice warm fuzzy hug, you're gonna burn to death.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just like how his introduction was when he showed up. Like, cause he falls in this like it's like a molten metal like mold type deal. He falls into it. It's like a vat of molten metal, and the suit burns off of him. But he comes back out more of a monster.
Yeah, I think I remember that too.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I played any Resident Evil game.
But I mean, as far as William Birkin, they did great. William Birkin was the one that created the G virus.
Oh, okay.
He had like the big eyeball on his arm.
Yeah, the thing out of his shoulder.
Yep.
Okay.
But like Nemesis, so like in the remake, I was really disappointed because they didn't show him off properly. Like instead of turning him in like a humanoid monster with tentacles popping out of his back and his arm being like completely covered in them, like he's more of like a quad-legged monster. Yep. That's the Nemesis I remember. That's not what we got for the remake, which was unfortunate. I still like the remake to some degree, but Could have been better.
Sorry about that, brother. That was my mother-in-law on the phone. She's gonna be swinging by in a few minutes to drop something off for my wife.
Oh, you're good. I was just showing off Nemesis. Like, this is how I remember Nemesis. He had the rocket launcher and tentacles and stuff.
Yeah, fucker followed you everywhere.
Yeah.
And this is one of the very few things that I know about the lore of the games with Resident Evil 3, specifically with Nemesis. In the PlayStation version of the original Resident Evil 3 Nemesis could not follow you into save rooms.
Yep. Same with Mr. X.
In the Dreamcast version, the fucker could follow you into save rooms. And if you saved your game, powered it off, the next time you loaded your game, he could randomly just be there in the room with you and fuck you up as soon as you loaded your game. It was rolling the dice that you would survive long enough to get going again.
Stars.
Stars.
Yeah, talk about chills, man. But like, what I was trying to get at is like the remake, man. I like the remake, but I don't like how they designed Nemesis. Because for whatever reason,
lost opportunity.
Yeah, oh, very, very much so. Because like his suit, I mean, it looks like somebody wrapped him with a trash bag. That's the best way I can put it. It doesn't look like a suit that's been tailored to him. It just looks like somebody wrapped a trash bag around him.
And mind you, I didn't even play the game. I just watched some playthrough video, and yeah, it just doesn't look right. It looks.
But here's like another picture that somebody did art of. Like this is like a Type 2 of Nemesis after the trench coats burn off. But like, you know, to me that's more Nemesis than anything. You got like his muscle showing, and there's the parasite, you know, protruding from his body. He's even got the iconic staples across his face.
Right. And that was another thing that for me was really key when first playing Nemesis was this thing not only looked like a freak on a leash, it looked like an incomplete project that got loose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, yes, they designed this thing, they programmed this thing, but it is a work in progress and an evolution on legs. And it wants to rape your face and kill you.
Pretty much, kind of like it did to Brad. Like the first moments when you reach the Raccoon Police Department.
Yeah, it literally just kind of...
Yep, picks him up and face fucks him with a tentacle. I mean, I had to say it. I'm not going to lie, it does.
Well, it's all right. I mean...
He's like, chill!
And you know, that calls to an earlier instance of sci-fi horror with the face huggers from Alien.
Oh, for sure.
Like, there's homage being paid there. And this was back when Capcom, I think, really had the concept of prior reference or playing to prior genre expectations and what has come before, when they actually had some respect and tried to honor the material that they were gleaning their inspirations from. That's not so much their bag anymore. They pretty much want to try and own the entirety of the genre and say, well, we're the ones who are doing it now.
Yeah, here's the remake version of Nemesis. Like, if you look at his suit, it looks like someone wrapped him with a trash bag.
Yeah, it's hefty.
It's got caution tape on it.
Lord.
And you see like some staples, but they weren't done good enough, like the way they were with the other Nemesis. Because like
in the prior incarnation, it was
like Nemesis wasn't exactly a tyrant per se. Like, I mean, there's actually some lore to Nemesis where he was like a boxer back in the day, but he basically signed a deal with the devil and became an experiment. And when he was in this like vat, they introduced the parasite and it got into him, started
Now-
turning him into Nemesis.
Remind me, was he a T virus recipient or a G virus?
I believe he was a T virus because a G virus is genetic.
Okay.
But because G virus wasn't even mentioned in Resident Evil 3 as far as
Okay.
Nemesis
remember.
goes.
I couldn't remember.
The G virus was what William Birkin had created, and Umbrella wanted to take it from him. So they sent in Hunk and his team to basically wipe him out. Well, that wasn't exactly the motive, was to wipe him out. But William Birkin retaliated with a handgun, and, well, Hunk and his men did their thing with their MP5 submachine guns. And that became a big shit show because William Birkin was like, well, you're going to try to take me out and take my life's work. Well, fuck you. I'm injecting myself with my life's work and becoming a utter monstrosity. And by utter monstrosity, he became known as the G mutant. I was just explaining like the lore with William Birkin, like
Okay.
the Umbrella like special forces essentially, like they came in and they were trying to take the virus from William Birkin, who was a scientist. He's like, oh, you're not going to take my life's work from me. So he pulled out a handgun to retaliate. So Hunk's team shot him with submachine guns, but he wasn't all the way dead. Even though he filled him full of holes, he still had a sample of the G virus and injected himself with it. And then he hunted down Hunk's team and found the samples that they had taken from him and started crushing them and drinking them into his body. And he got bigger.
He was like absorbing them.
He literally grabbed the samples and started draining them into his mouth.
Ugh.
With glass draining into it as well as he's crunching them into his mouth.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Resident Evil 3 Remake, it was cool for what it was, but they could have done so much better. Mind you, that it came out right around the time of COVID. And Capcom even said that they had a different entire team from Resident Evil 2 Remake that made this.
Right. You didn't have the same art direction. You didn't have the same programmers. It was
but they took assets from Resident Evil 2 Remake, which I was kind of mad about because it's like you could have done way better with this.
This thing is kind of lazy.
Oh, it's super lazy, but I mean, it's okay with some zombies, but make some new zombies too along with it, so they blend in a little bit better.
Right.
Instead of me just looking at the zombies and go, oh, I remember that one from Resident Evil 2 Remake. I also remember shooting it 20 times in the head and it's still not dying. That was the whole thing about Resident Evil 2 and I guess 3 as well, but I played 3 on easy because I didn't feel like dealing with it. Yeah. Resident Evil 2 Remake, when you were playing it, their whole premise was for survival horror. So, what the sense of... Oh? Oh, okay. What I was saying, though, like earlier, to those listening to us, Resident Evil 2 wasn't meant to be a shoot 'em up type game, which I think is kind of, I don't know, kind of weird considering I could kill zombies in the original game, but they were focused on survival horror so much that they made zombies pretty much indestructible. besides the other enemies like the dogs, the lickers, the G mutants. I can't think what else, but like anything else that wasn't a zombie, you could kill no problem. Sure, it might have took a little bit more ammo, but I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me. Like,
Like she was getting through every time.
to me, a zombie should be a very easy obstacle to go around or to take out initially. Because, like, instructed from like most movies and what lore we do know of just basic zombies, you decapitate or destroy the brain. That's our basic knowledge of killing a zombie, right? So I went with those types of rules, and yeah, the zombies are pretty much unkillable. They're stunnable, but they're pretty much unkillable.
I'm sorry, brother. I gotta cut off for a few minutes. I'm gonna step aside and just gonna mute my mic and cut the camera off for a few minutes.
Okay.
Mother-in-law wanted to chit chat for a few.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, when it comes to Resident Evil, I like the originals better. They still kind of seem more Resident Evil than the remakes. But as far as the oldest view, when we were watching that earlier today, I'm kind of glad we were able to get what we did from the oldest view. I know the video that we were watching was just nothing more than Kane Pixels walking through the remnants of the mall, but it was also very necessary closure with the series that he produced. So take it for what you will, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And yeah, I think Kane Pixels knocked it out of the park. Now, as far as the back rooms, will that ever be concluded? We don't know. But hopefully it goes as long as possible. We continue to be able to watch it and make more content for it. Yeah, I mean, as far as Resident Evil goes, I hope we get a Resident Evil 9, which I know we are, but I hope we get like an update of what that's going to be. As far as like survival horror, though, I think yeah, like the next game I play, that's going to be survival horror. Will probably either be Dead Space or Evil Within. But before I do all that, I'm going to do a Stalker playthrough. I'm going to play Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl, Stalker Clear Sky, and then Stalker Call of Pripyat. But before I even do that, I still got to do Fallout New Vegas and finish that. And then from there, oh yeah, then I also got to finish Vladik Brutal. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to kind of figure out as I go, like what else I'm going to play. the Resident Evil marathon was pretty damn long, longer than I expected it was going to be. Whew. Now I know we were doing the oldest view live, but I will say that considering what the video was, I'm just kind of like rambling at the moment. I figured the video was going to be a little bit more, but I'm happy with what it was. Yeah, I don't really got much else to like talk about. I mean, I could bring up some videos or something, show something off. I know that I guess Ubisoft is losing a lot in stocks right now, considering what happened with Star Wars Outlaws. They're not doing too good right now. Ooh, man. And I guess Starfield got an update for like a new vehicle in their game, which is okay, I guess. But like, I'm kind of disappointed in Bethesda in that sense because like it took you a year to put a vehicle in your game when that should have been like something that came with the game. Um, the hell? Give me 1 second here. There was a trailer for it. Yeah, it's not the trailer I was looking for. Oh, there we go. I found it.
In this upcoming entry to the Fallout universe, the team behind Fallout Nuevo Mexico aims to reimagine the world of Fallout by going back to its original roots. In this multi-part gameplay trailer series, we'll dive into what makes this mod one of the most ambitious and story-driven Fallout projects.
I'm sorry about that, brother.
Oh, you're good.
Unlike modern Fallout games, Nuevo
If
Mexico
I may
gives you the chance
ask
to
for a brief
choose
pause, so
your
I could just
protagonist.
really quick. You know how you and I have talked about it, sometimes family can be a real pain in the ass.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, family can be a real pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
That was my mother-in-law stopped by to drop off a coat for my wife, a new winter coat since my wife's has seen better days. I think I've told you, brother, my father-in-law and mother-in-law are splitting up.
Yeah, I believe you did tell me that.
Yep. My father-in-law is living with us. And he brought his big dumb dog, who is a sweetheart dog. I like Gunner. He's a good boy. He's a bullet head and a fucking clown, but he's a good dog.
Bullet head and a clown.
I just spent the last 7-8 minutes just listening to my mother-in-law bitch and complain about my father-in-law and about all the stuff that he brought here that she wants back or thinks that you shouldn't have had. Hold on a second. It's my mother-in-law calling.
Oh boy. Oh man.
I love my family, but sometimes they make me want to pull my hair out. I did not need to sit here and listen to her grumble and grouse about him for 8 minutes straight. Particularly when
I think that's where I'm a lot meaner than you.
all the stuff that she was griping that he brought here from the farm, it's shit that he bought with his money that he intended to use at the farm. Some of which
okay. So there's nothing to discuss.
Yeah, it's like, lady, not only that, but you and John aren't using it.
Right.
Let it go. What the
Right.
fuck? At what point do I just interrupt and say, Mom, I don't care. You're bitching to the wrong person. I'm trying to stay as Switzerland and as neutral as possible. You're not my parents.
Yeah, like I said, that's where I'm not so nice.
Oh my God.
Like when it comes to stupid stuff like that, I'm just up in front. I don't give a fuck.
Right. I just I'm sorry. I
And
apologize.
if that even buys me like any sort of I'm sure it doesn't buy me any sort of favors, but it is what it is.
No,
just how I roll, man.
You're absolutely right though about that. There are times when I'm trying to be pleasant or polite and it fucks me.
Yeah, that's kind of the lesson on that. I mean, you just kind of gotta, even if it seems bad, sometimes you just gotta be honest and be like, you know what? I don't care. Let's stop talking about this.
Yeah. So what is this?
This is Fallout Nuevo Mexico, which is a Fallout mod that is going to be the size of a game.
I think you mentioned this to me before.
Yep. So apparently they were doing a long hiatus for a little bit, but they just announced on their Discord that they're back on track and they're going to be, producing more for the mod and working on it. And I'm very happy that they're going to do that. Because you can either play as a convict or a ghoul. And they're both their own storyline.
You can play as a ghoul.
Yes,
Oh, dude.
in New Vegas.
People
you can also
have
play. You can also play as a ghoul in Fallout 76 too. By the way.
Oh yeah, I think you had told me about that too.
Yep.
But people for a long time have wanted to play as a ghoul.
There's mods called the ghoulification mod stuff for Fallout 3 in New Vegas on Nexus. But I mean, does it really tie into the story? No. However, I mean, if you want to kind of like do like a role play series of your character being a ghoul and roaming the wasteland, you know, by all means,
Exactly.
people do that.
Exactly. I mean, and the amount of fan made content you can get out of that is probably
for sure.
infinite.
So this, like, you know, you have the convict and the dreamer. The dreamer is the ghoul character that is a ghoul and is respected as one. I'm sure, you know, like the negative drawbacks of being a ghoul, like human contact isn't so polite, you know, as we're all aware in Fallout lore. You know, most people kind of shun ghouls for becoming brainless monsters.
Right, because the overwhelming evidence is that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, eventually that's what it comes down to. Then you have the convict, which starts in like an area that's pretty much mysterious. You don't know how you got there. But you wake up in a jail cell in like a vault type deal.
Okay, so they're going the Bethesda Oblivion route. You wake up in a jail cell.
Sort of.
Welcome to every Bethesda game.
Except like the jail cell is like guarded by these robotic like prison guards. They're almost like android prison guards.
Oh, like synth?
Sort of, yeah.
Unskinned synth?
Yeah, more like just a frame body, like humanoid body. You know. Yep.
Origins, the convict or the dreamer. That's right, two of them. We'll be taking a look at the convict's beginning first. As the convict, you'll start off inside Tibbet's penitentiary prison with no recollection of who you were before you were mysteriously captured and locked up there.
Well, this is just a teaser, by the way.
Gotcha.
I'm sure they'll master the sounds eventually.
You there? Come over here. Damn.
Yeah, because that sounded like the sound effects of certain prison activity, but not necessarily a beating.
I thought I was going to be neutralized by that crazed inmate. I too cannot remember much either. I woke up in a cell block, just like the one they put you in, and, well, that's it. Had no idea why we were brought here. But for some reason, I seem to remember a lot more than most inmates here.
Which is a red
That's
flag.
what those robotic machines call us, inmates. And now, fugitives who are to be tracked down and caught.
Buenas tardes, Nuevo Mexico. This is El Lobo, and I hope you're having the wonderful evening that you deserve. You know, people say that the Chihuahuan desert's a brutal and dangerous place, and to be sincere.
Yep, the mod will also have new environments as well to explore.
Nice. So it's not just like linear.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it literally takes place in 4 states, and they're all like their own world maps.
Nice.
With you, which I always am. It's true.
Welcome to the land of enchantment. The year is 2166. 89 years after the Great War left the world in total nuclear devastation, those supposedly lucky enough to survive were greeted by a far harsher ruination.
Hold your fire, boys. Don't shoot her just yet. We can have our little fun with her first. All right, bitch. You gonna make this easy? Because if you try to resist, I will make sure you hate it even more. Oh, really? You got some friends, you say? They got some curves around the waist like you? Oh, because we'd love to have some fun with them, too. Oh, I love it when they bite back. All right, come on, bitch, let's go. Te voy a partir tu madre, puta.
Gotta say, the cool little mole rat, they're like packing mole rats. They had like
Yeah,
stuff on
pack
them.
mule, mole rat.
Yeah.
Muchas gracias, muchacho. Dios nos ha bendecido con tu presencia. Thank you. May the Lord repay you for your kind act here. I'm Sister Manuela, and the young man you just saved is my guard, Travis. Are you by any chance headed to the Shrine of Mary? I've been told the Prophet Adolfo will be there to give a speech. Voltec kidnapped you? You must be talking about those vaults built in the pre-war. I have heard Comancheros say some odd rumors about them. That and those mythical stories they tell about La Santa Muerte.
Yep. Even like new bug life and fauna and stuff will be in the game too.
Nice album to add in.
Ay, cabron. I don't recognize you. What the hell brings you to our outpost? No, sorry, but I can't do that way. I can only let you in once you give me a good reason to. We have no clue who you are. You may be here to raid the place.
You notice his name? El Alcoholico?
No mames.
Yep.
You were a part of that shit? Sorry then, lo siento. You know how it is. Gotta keep the place safe. Pues órale. Go on in, compa. Let me know if anyone gives you trouble. And hey, if you get a chance to talk to Adolfo again, put in a good word for me.
Yep. And they got service rifles.
I like too that they've got it looks like some pretty decent customized clothing and outfits
The
here.
ponchos. Yeah.
Yeah,
It fits the aesthetic for sure.
right.
If you're looking for
the whole
trouble,
visual
you ought to look
kind
the
of
other way.
cues that you get from a Fallout in this
Study
setting.
it. I'll answer a few questions for
Or
you.
like
Just
even this character right here, half their face is burned.
Yeah.
quick.
Again, this actually
So,
looks really
gonna
well
ask me
put
something?
together.
Yeah.
Muy bien. Take this duffel bag and stand over there. Shouldn't be long before a band of armed banditos arrive. We should get going. I gotta return the caps and duffel bag to Pedro. Adolfo's right-hand man and sharpshooter Ramirez convinced him I was of value to the contribution of the bandito problem going on. That's why I call my relationship with them an alliance.
Why, of
This-
course. I run a
this is
town that is
why.
rewarded daily for their fine work.
This is why the property, intellectual property holder or owners need to leave fan projects the fuck alone. This
Mhm.
looks like something I would play.
100%. And that's kind of like what a lot of my like gripes are with, like, let's say even the Fallout show, is it lacks a lot of originality. To me, it
Yeah,
does.
It relies too heavily on just being, hey, this is the thing. Well, how about you add on to the thing and
Like-
do so in a way that is good?
Like I've mentioned before, even like the Fallout show is like what a lot of it lacked was like the atmosphere. Like it's a wasteland. People are not going to be so happy and chummy to be your friend and talk to you. They're going to try to rob you or capture you or whatever
Right.
for caps.
Or the ones who are that happy and smiling, it's because you're meat.
You're meat, or they're
Run
going to
the
sell
other
you
way.
for chems.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anywho, brother, I am going
Hold
to be
down.
hopping off here soon.
Mm.
I'm gonna.
I just wanted to like briefly look at this. I mean, I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but just kind of skim through. Like, here's the goal portion of it. This is what actually got me really hooked to it. Was this part particularly right here? You're not a ghoul yet, but it's what this guy says, and it makes me want to explore what he's talking about. Because this is like the ghoul outpost right here. You can see the radiation and stuff around him.
Okay, Smoothskin. Stay put and don't move a goddamn muscle. I won't hesitate to drill you into the ground with bullets. Now, identify yourself. We ghouls have seen some crazy shit. Like that damn secret lab facility base just 25 miles southwest of here. The Alamos Research Facility Base Number 2 was top secret. Whatever was in that place was unleashed after the bombs managed to hit it pretty good.
I want to know what's in there.
Yeah.
Because he said whatever was in there was unleashed. I want to know what's in there, and the noises it was just making.
Yeah, no, that draws me in a lot more even than the prior segment.
Right. So I'm like, okay, this hidden base had an experiment of some kind.
And we all know Voltex experiments are not always pleasant.
Especially since this is drawing more towards the original Fallouts. Because I don't know if you noticed the armor that Ghoul was wearing. That's Combat Armor Mark II from Fallout 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
That's like their, I mean, it's pretty iconic as far as like Fallout 1 and 2 goes because it's really good armor.
Right, whereas my familiarity is more with 3 New Vegas 4.
Well, New Vegas actually had the Mark II armor in it, like the Combat Mark II armor. It just wasn't green like it was in Fallout 1 and 2.
Oh, okay. So it was just the shade that was different. All right.
But it was in the game though. I didn't notice it until I actually like looked at the name of it. I'm like, wait, this is Combat Armor Mark II? What? And I was like, I noticed the helmet with the visor and the little red like laser thing on the side of it. I was like, wait a minute, that's Mark II armor. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then I looked on Nexus Mods. I'm like, oh, there's actually like reskins for the armor itself to make it look, original. And then I seen the trailers for this mod, and there's actually shots of like guards like guarding like a mine, and they're all wearing Combat Mark II armor.
Huh.
Like head to toe, the helmets and the armor itself. I'm like, dude, that is so original. Because like in Fallout 1 and 2, they're isometric games. So you don't really get the best detail. You just kind of get what the armor looks like. But yeah, I mean, just the shot alone, I was like, wow, that's definitely Fallout 1 and 2. But yeah. Yeah, right here. I was going to show you this too.
There's
Real
another
quick.
race.
You can
A
create your
ghoul who's
Fallout,
taken
or you
residence in
create your
a
gold
pre-war
character
military
right here.
base known only as
Dude!
the Reservation.
Fucking awesome.
You can see his shirt's all tore up.
You can choose to leave the base at any time or pursue the main quest by impressing the reservation's messiah.
Looks pretty dead out there. Not a thing to shoot at or talk to. Only interesting thing that's happened is that weird guy who came in yapping about being imprisoned by Vault Tech.
So that shot that you seen where the guy was walking up to the ghoul base, the story's kind of somewhat intertwined. Because I'm assuming when you play as the convict and you walk up, it kind of like takes place from there to go into this story from your ghoul character.
Right, like there's cross-pollination of concepts and environments because it's set in the same world, but with two very distinct characters.
Right. Those two characters could be anybody that you make them to be. But I am going to play Fallout New California, which is another big mod for Fallout New Vegas. It's basically like another whole Fallout game. But I still got to finish New Vegas, then I do that.
People who create these mod projects, they are some brilliant fucking people.
Oh, yeah, especially with the Tale of Two Wastelands, where it takes Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 and puts them together, and you can cross them between both games. You can either start in Fallout 3 or start in New Vegas. And whether or not, like vice versa, you can cross between the two places from either side.
I would almost have to ask, who would want to start in Fallout 3 and go to New Vegas?
Yeah, I didn't do that. I just played through Fallout 3 and I started a new character in New Vegas.
Yeah, I'm sorry. For me, the Courier 6 is the shit.
Yeah, my whole reasoning is Fallout 3 is very janky when it comes to modding and stuff. And I wanted the game to look as good as possible because it is a very outdated game.
Yeah.
But that was my only reason. Like, New Vegas has most of the good mods. Same engine, but better mods.
Definitely.
And the Frontier, we don't talk about Frontier right now. It's actually being redone because of how bad it was.
I've heard some bad things.
Yeah. I don't even know if I would do a playthrough just to laugh at it. I mean, it's so bad. That, and especially when it came out, like, it had some very controversial things when it came out. Like, pretty much, like, you're familiar with the dialogue options and stuff in the game, right?
Yes.
So you're aware, like, when you can talk to, like, the prostitutes and stuff, and you can do things.
Yeah.
Well, there was a character that was underage when it first came out that you could open up the dialogue to. And they had to retcon and take that out when it came out.
Yeah, why would you have that in there in the first place?
Don't know. But yeah, that was like a big thing when it came out. Everybody was like freaking out about it, and rightfully so.
Whoever programmed that in, they have to face the wall. I'm sorry. It's the end of it. You face the wall, this is done.
That, and there was a death claw you could do things to. Yeah. I don't want that to come out of my mouth ever again, but yeah. And as lightly as I put that.
No.
But yeah, so Frontier is being redone as we speak.
Good.
Yeah. But on that note, I know you got to get going, and me, I kind of want to go take a shower and lay down.
Understandable, bro.
So I appreciate anybody who stopped by. And Byron, it's always a pleasure you being here and us scooping off and nerding out. I know the LSVU wasn't that particularly like eventful, but I did enjoy the ending of it.
Yeah.
For what we got.
It was a good wrap up for that particular series.
Mm-hmm.
And I am hopeful that we will get the next back rooms.
It is coming.
Yep, that we're gonna get that soon. We're gonna be able to dive into that and nerd out. Friday, we are good to go. I assume and hope for Culling of the Nerd.
Definitely doing that Friday.
We've done quite a bit of nerd talk here today, but
yeah,
I like the nerding out.
Before we were given, there wasn't really much to talk about for the oldest view.
Yeah. But Friday, for Culling of the Nerd, there's at least one topic that I for sure want to hone in on, that we get to focus and zero in on when it comes to this coming Friday.
Briefly, do you know what that topic may be? And if so, if you want to let me know behind the scenes what we want to talk about.
I'll talk to you behind the scenes, actually,
Okay.
just because I don't want to make a promise right now.
Spoil it. Okay.
Yeah, and then have us not be able to deliver on it, or say, well, we can't really touch on that right now. But
Right.
I'll message you when we get off the show.
One more thing. I heard Ubisoft is literally crashing right now after Star Wars Outlaws.
Their stock ticker, it's my understanding they've lost about 30% of value just in the last 3 days.
It's so bad.
That's 10% value on your company per day. Something is wrong there. Someone is getting fired,
laid off.
When you've got this kind of a dumpster fire going on inside your company, someone's head has to roll. That's just how it is. And obviously I'm speaking in metaphor, but with these skeezy fuckers, you never know. Someone may get promoted sideways as a way to try and avoid scandal, or saying, oh, we fucked up. It's, you fucked up, Jimbo, but we're going to move you to this other department within the company, so that hopefully people will say, oh, the problem was taken care of. Meanwhile, Jimbo, who fucked up, is still there.
Yeah. I think it's a culmination and mix between Assassin's Creed, Star Wars Outlaws, and Disney kind of putting their foot into it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely
going to touch on that Friday.
We'll wade into that more Friday, yes. And I use the term Wade as a double entendre here, because there's also, Wade of Deadpool fame, who, much as I want to see that movie, and I really do want to see
I actually did see it.
How was it good?
It's very good.
Okay. I was hoping that it would be good, but I need people to understand, if they haven't already heard this from 1,000 other people who are on YouTube, the success of a single title is not going to pull Disney's ass out of the fire.
No, not at all.
End of statement.
Yeah, all I'll say about Deadpool 3 is, as good as it may be, I don't consider that a Disney movie whatsoever. And for what it was, it's actually embarrassing how well that did compared to all the other titles that came out from Disney.
Yep. And what's the one thing that ties all of Disney's recent, over the last 6-7 years, what ties all their failures together when you compare it against Deadpool and Wolverine? There's one common factor that all those failures have that didn't show up from everything I've heard in Deadpool and Wolverine. One element that was not present. It's my understanding that Deadpool and Wolverine didn't try to lecture its audience.
No, not at all. It was actually fun to watch.
And all these other movies and shows on Disney Plus have spent so much of their time in marketing, in advertising, and in the material itself, trying to denigrate and browbeat and lecture the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And they all failed.
And here's the even better part about that is, even with the inclusivity of Deadpool 3, and there is some, but it's not in your fucking face.
And here's
and they're good characters.
Here's the important question. Was it done organically? Were the characters actually quality?
Mm-hmm.
There's your difference. When
It
it's
was done very
inorganic,
well.
when it's inorganic, if it's inauthentic, and if it feels like it's there just to insult you, no one wants that.
Like Tithes with Warhammer episode 2. Nobody wanted that with the female custodies.
Yeah, with the chin bigger than fucking mine.
Yeah. But Tithes episode 3 looks a little more promising. There's no female custodies, thankfully. And it's more centered towards the Imperial Guard and the Orcs.
Well, there you go. Blood for the blood god. Skulls for
That
the skull.
and Space Marine 2 was also really good. I do gotta add. Wasn't woke.
I've heard a lot of people praising it.
Oh yeah, no, it's not woke at all. It's very to the lore and to the point, and it was a very, very good game in my opinion.
Play on.
But that is all I
Well-
got to say for now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining Brother Cortex and myself, ByronOfSidius, once again for this deep dive and kind of half deep dive, half calling of the nerd. We will see you back here, hopefully Friday morning. If you choose to join us again, we'd love to have you.
Very much so.
Share the material around, let people know what it is that we do, because we're not the big timers, but we do enjoy doing what we do.
No, but yeah, exactly. We definitely enjoy. We might even have a guest appearance here on Friday.
Oh,
somebody I was talking to, it's a longtime friend of mine. He's in our Discord, but we'll get acquainted before we dive into the calling of the nerd.
All
'Cause
right.
he was thinking about doing his own podcast, and I was like, well, me and Byron, we kind of do that kind of thing, and figure we would put heads together and come up with something.
Oh,
It'll
yeah.
still be the calling of the nerd.
And he could easily, we've got a smaller audience, but there's no
Mhm.
harm in using us as a springboard to his own thing.
For sure. He's wanting to do the same thing as me, stream games and stuff.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. I got to help him set up his stuff, but yeah, we'll get it all ironed out.
Yeah, you're definitely good with the background, with the backstage stuff.
For sure.
It's the reason why you're able to do it. I'm not. I'm just geek.
But anyhow, yeah, we're out here, guys. Appreciate y'all coming through. And as always, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit subscribe for more, and we'll see you all Friday. Take it easy,
Cheers.
guys. We're out of here.
Wait.